think we good up here. See,
Thank you.
we good.
Are you open this or want me to open?
Black. I'm just tryna make it out now. I'm just tryna make it out now. I'm just tryna make it out now. I'm just tryna make it out now.
Let's go, rise on one! One! Rise!
You already look like you Hollywood, man.
They call it in the combine, boy, they call it that pro agility shuttle, baby! We break the huddle, everything we do is 100 miles an hour. Do we understand that? Yes, sir. Ready?
TBT, we back, baby. What's good? But hey, listen, man, I made it.
Boy,
I'm just happy to be here today.
yeah.
So if y'all would have seen what I saw on Friday night.
Oh, boy.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
On the 22nd?
Yes, sir.
What it was, B?
Whoa. Whoa. All I can say is whoa.
Litigation.
Like Rob, whoa.
Hey, man.
Boy.
It was epic, huh?
It was lit, man.
It was epic.
Good music, good vibe. They say the food was good. Everybody was jamming. Real boy, you had a good time, real.
Hey, man.
You had a good time.
Man,
Like
9
I
for
said,
1
Huh?
showed up and showed out.
I'm just happy to be here, man.
Yeah,
Matter
man.
of fact, I wasn't the only one that had a good time now.
Boy,
Huh?
it just seemed like you.
Exactly. Because I know
Who
you
you
had a
lying?
good time over there.
Who you? And I did. That's what I was supposed to. That's what we was there for. To have a good time. Thank you.
Yes. What's up, B Waiter, man? You be the negotiator in the house, baby. What's up?
The negotiator is here, real.
Yeah.
The negotiator is here. 941. Major love, major thanks, man, for coming out Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all came out, y'all showed out, and we was acting like grown folks. No craziness went on. Like, big ups to 941, man. We appreciate y'all, and we gonna run it back. Believe that. We gonna run it back.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. God, Barbara, what's up, baby?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Man. I think we're gonna have a good show tonight. And hey, I'm ready, man.
All right.
I'm ready. You know, I don't say too much all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I say too much, but I ain't saying too much all the time.
There you go.
Did that make sense?
That makes
And
sense.
it do.
That makes sense. All
Anything
right.
out your mouth makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Cole, what's up over there from St. Pete? Huh?
I am. And nothing much. Just got back from Atlanta.
Yep.
What you doing at ATL?
Hosting the World Natural Hair Show presented by Talia Wajid. So that was dope. All kind of black-owned vendors and businesses was there, like all of them, like
that's
from
what's
natural hair products and just every vendor in there was like over 300 vendors. Every vendor in there was black owned.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's
that
big.
was dope. Oh, how about y'all some stuff, Mike?
She brought real some hair.
What you? What's going on here?
She brought you some
God,
hair, real.
Baba. Well, you have to do POP, nappy head.
Oh,
I want you
this
to
the.
just Some
Oh,
hand in there.
so it's like a hand sponge. They put
Uh-huh,
the hands
you
in
ain't gotta
there.
touch his hair.
But that's the only one.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
That's only for me though,
That's
right?
for POP.
Don't age God.
Yeah.
Don't, that ain't
That's
The curl sponge.
Yeah.
Okay.
B.
What that is?
Uh-oh,
What
B.
B? What the negotiator got?
All right. Now, this for B. This for my brother
Well, I
B.
see that. I already know what that
This
is. But I
say,
see
I
that.
love all you.
Niggas.
Always the first one up in the morning talking about good morning. I love all y'all, right? Okay.
Let me
here you
pass
go,
that to
B.
him.
Yeah,
Pass that
because
to him.
He just love everybody. He love
Hey,
everybody.
B. Show it,
man,
me.
you gotta-
All
you
right.
gotta-
Show it.
I
It's
got
too much-
one
it's too
more.
much
This for
negative
my
going
brother
on in the
again.
world.
Uh-oh. Don't touch
Don't
the
touch
beard.
my beard.
This say it louder.
Don't touch my beard. Okay.
This for
That's the
you.
God
I
Baba?
like that. Yes.
God
This
Baba
for
got
me
two.
too?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Get special, baby.
All right, all
Y'all
right.
see it.
All right, this is
Y'all
for
see it.
this is for our manager.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
This is for Wendell. He got some pretzels and a Delta napkin. He don't get no crumbs all over sea green stuff. Pass that like that to Wendell. All right, let's see. This right here now.
What?
I'ma see if y'all can see who this for. Y'all can guess.
Just out here protecting my boundaries.
This for tight mouth. You know he don't like to cry. He ain't got no emotions. He ain't got no feelings. He don't like to cry. You all that. He don't want no
Show
hug.
them,
And
real,
all
show,
of
'em-
that.
show the fans what you got, real. Put it up to the
He
to
don't
the
want
camera,
no
real.
hug and all of that. And this right here,
Uh-oh.
I'm
I
scared.
gotta see
boy, Pretty Ricky. We got
Uh-oh.
you some. We got you some stuff for your hair, man. You know you like to look
scared.
good. We got you some Uncle Jimmy curl kicker. You understand what I'm saying? Uncle Jimmy body lotion. You understand what I'm saying? And we got you some Uncle Jimmy hair, beard, and body wash. So you only got to use it one time. You can do it all at the same.
That's beautiful.
Cold, baby.
Cold.
She in the building, baby.
I appreciate that.
Go.
I appreciate that.
We appreciate
Cause
that.
I ain't
Cole.
real. Cause I really do hate using shampoo for the beard, little Dove soap for the face,
Yeah.
and then a little body wash for the body. All in one. I appreciate that. Good looking out.
Thank you, Cole.
I ain't gonna lie, you had me scared though, but I appreciate it.
But me too. I was
POP,
scared.
man, what is, wait, hold on. P-E-E-O-P-E-E, right?
Put some respect on it.
POP, what's up, baby?
Respect on it.
Put some respect on it, man. I heard y'all had a good time Friday, man. I'm sorry I couldn't be there.
Man.
It's my story and I'm sticking with it.
Oh, my goodness, man. My boy is sticking with the story.
Let them stick with it, child. We ain't finna argue with people.
Got nothing but
POP
rave
today.
reviews, man. They say y'all should run it back to maybe Tampa, St. Pete. I don't know. But
Yeah,
I
we
heard
definitely
they
need
had
Congrats,
some
man. Y'all
comments
did the damn
saying take it
thing,
to
man.
Jacksonville, Orlando, Miami.
Oh, man.
Golly, boy, we got to put on the tour.
Hey, man.
Hey, we will figure that out, though.
We will.
For
Good
sure.
music, man.
But guess what, guys?
Okay.
We here for a reason tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Special show. Supposed to be season finale, but close to the season finale.
This is not the season finale.
But we here for a reason, and we have a very, very special guest in the house. Super. Well, let me just put it this way. School board member, Mr. Reverend James Golden is in the building. How you doing today, sir?
I'm fine. I'm Reverend James T. Golden.
Okay.
I'm the chairman of the Manatee County School Board. And I really do appreciate the opportunity to come here and be invited to participate in your program. On yesterday, I wound up in a place called Fitzpatrick, Alabama, preaching for my daughter for her 133rd church anniversary. So I'm a little tired because the day before I had an opportunity to visit the Museum of Peace and Justice in Montgomery, Alabama, which is the reminder and the memorial of the lynching of black people in this country from the 1800s well into the 1900s and the 1940s. In fact, in the state of Florida, of the 67 counties that we have here, 49 of them lynched at least one black person. And one of those counties is Manatee County. So I'm pleased to be here, to be a part of this program and to be around as many young people as I'm around tonight. I'm 74 years old, and I don't think that there's anybody in here that's even within 10 or 15 years of me at most.
You're right.
Wendell.
You're right. You're right. You're right on that one.
Yeah.
Wendell.
So I thank you.
I think Wendell is.
So I thank you all very much for the opportunity to come and for the invitation.
Absolutely. And, hey, listen, you know, we were delighted one day when we got a message from the God barber.
Yeah, that's what he called me. Yeah, I guess because I'm an
that-
old barber or something.
yeah.
I don't know, man.
that you know, you guys had a conversation and we extended that invitation and you showed up. So we definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
But let's just get started from this. Where you from? Where you from?
I'm from Daytona Beach, Florida. I was born in Jacksonville. Back in the day, I was a centipede. I don't know whether all of you all went to integrated schools or not, but the school that I went to segregated schools until I was well out of college. Now that's the Speedway 500 at Daytona Beach. When I was growing up, we couldn't even go to Daytona Beach. We had to go to New Smyrna Beach because that's where Bethune Beach was. And so, but that's where I grew up. I went to Stetson University, the last college. I went to the first college, Fisk University, when I was 14 years old. I finished the 10th grade and went to college.
Okay.
And so between Fisk and Stetson University, I then went to the University of Florida Law School. And after that, I went to seminary in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm from a lot of places. I pastored in DeLeon Springs, Florida, Orange Bend, Florida, Ocala, Florida. I pastored here in Manatee County, and now I pastor in Hillsborough County.
Excellent, excellent. And go ahead. Bree.
No, I want to piggyback a little bit. When you, the chairman of the school
Yes, I
board,
am.
first black, or should I say black, or should I say African American
First African American man
man?
to be elected to the school board. And last year, I served as vice chair of the school board. And this year, the members of the school board elected me to be the chair of this school board.
And that was, you know, that's interesting to me. And that's big in some sort in Manatee County. But since we on this small black history in Manatee County, me personally, I mean, maybe I'm not looking hard enough or what, but I don't see anything in Manatee County that the kids and anybody else, any other adults, can look at for as black history. I don't see no black history in Manatee County. I don't see no landmarks. I don't see no buildings. I don't see no storefronts, anything that represent black history in this county. Like and by you saying you was well, I'm not saying you saying, but you are the first male black chairman in Manatee County. How did you feel about that when you don't see nothing in your county that I can say represent blacks? I don't see nothing. It may be something around here, but I don't see it. Do you see that, Miss Golden? Do you?
I'm just waiting for you to finish.
Yeah, I'm finished. I'm finished. Hey, huh.
I disagree that there's nothing What I will agree with is that there's a disproportionate amount of representation for people who are not people of color. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, I participated in the demonstrations that were held downtown to remove the Confederate memorial from here. Well, this wasn't the only place where that was. I participated in the one in Hillsborough County in Tampa. I participated in the one in St. Augustine. But the problem that you identify is a problem that's endemic to black people everywhere. We are underrepresented. As a matter of fact, that's what critical race theory people talk about today, but they want to try to make it even more difficult to talk about our history and to be reminded. Like I said, I just left a place where I saw the memorials of the thousands of people that were lynched. And one of the people, and I don't think I'll ever forget that, one was a Reverend Sinclair from Hernando County. And Reverend Sinclair was lynched because he officiated, as a minister, he officiated at a wedding of a black man and a white woman. So I agree with you that a lot of the progress, a lot of the purpose, a lot of the things that should be remembered are not remembered. The house where Jackie Robinson stayed before he was taken up out of the miners is right here in Bradenton. As a matter of fact, the guy that rented him the room was one of my members of the church when I pastored Ward Temple here. So I'm sure that there are other examples all around here. There are schools that are named after black people there, but the main business section in Bradenton, which is now Martin Luther King, all of that used to be the heart of a business community for
Yeah,
black
I used to
people.
hear that back in the days,
So
yeah.
it's incumbent upon those of us who are in positions and who have the capacity, particularly the capacity to be in media, to make sure that people are aware of what we have done and what we have accomplished. That's important, that we not let our history be buried under the guise of critical race theory, let it not be taught it's just that it's a sad thing when your oppressor decides and determines that your history is not worth mentioning, not worth remembering.
Reverend Golden.
I hope that answers.
Yeah.
We actually have the Family Heritage House here in Manatee County.
Oh, yeah?
If y'all didn't know
And-
about
Yeah,
that.
I didn't.
And the Family Heritage, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the Family Heritage House used to be in Bradenton at the Head Start Center when Gwen Brown was the Head Start person. It is now located on the campus
State College of
of
Florida.
State College of Florida. Way, and a lot of the history of the community is out there. So I don't know how many churches take their children there after services on Sunday, or how many have field trips that they take their children on. But
Reverend
that-
Goldman,
that's that.
as the chairman of the school board, are you also zoned a particular area? Are you at the same time zoned to a
Yes.
particular area?
I am zoned. I am the representative from District 5. District 5 is south of 64, east of the Manatee, not the Manatee River, the Braden River, north of University, all the way to the county line.
Okay. So I always was curious, how do you guys come up with who's responsible for what zone?
Okay.
Yeah.
The zoning is established as a consequence of the census, and it starts out with equal numbers of people in each one of the zones. Obviously, it's political because everybody wants to have what they need for their advantage. But the reality is that when the decennial census comes around, then we redraw the zone. We just finished redrawing the zones for District 5 a few months ago. We redrew our zones the county can redraw their zones. Now, mind you, note this: the last drawing, the counties and the school boards were the same.
Okay.
This time, the county and the school board are different.
Okay.
And I'll leave it to you to determine why there's that difference when you consider County Commissioner District 2
Okay.
and how they revolved around moving the lines so that they could weaken that district and strengthen others with respect to tightening the grip of one political party over the other.
Okay.
So do you agree with that, the way they do it like that?
Okay, I agree with the lines that we drew in the school board because I drew those lines.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that they were as positive as possible, and I wanted to make sure, or tried to make sure, that the county lines mirrored the school board lines as much as possible so that we wouldn't lose any ground. I don't think there's any secret right now that the governor of this state has usurped the authority for drawing the congressional district lines and the state House representatives and the state Senate rep from the legislature. They've just turned that over to him. I don't know how that's going to go, but
That leads to this question. As a chairman, and you just mentioned that you draw the lines for the school board.
no, I don't draw them by myself, but I did lead the effort to get the lines drawn like they are right now.
Okay. So, as the only African Black American on the chair, as I look at the zones, what zone is this area?
This is zone 2.
All right.
It
Zone
stretches.
2 would be the Palmetto area. Can you outline that zone?
Okay. Zone 2 stretches from the 275 cut cross down 41, down 30. No, is that 3? That's 301 to the east and 41 to the west, right?
Okay.
Okay. That into Bradenton, down First Street, down 9th, and I believe it goes all the way to, I know it goes beyond 20, I think it goes like all the way down to like maybe Cortez Road.
Okay. Did you ever consider representing that zone, being that you're African American?
Okay. The zone that you represent is a zone that you reside in.
Okay.
So I couldn't represent District 2 because I don't reside in
Oh, you
District
don't
2.
live. Oh.
The present person who resides in District 2
Perfect.
is, well, you all probably know who that is, so I don't need
Is
to.
that
I
Mr.
didn't come here to advertise for
Is that
anybody
Mr.
else.
I got you. I got you. Have you ever been an educator? It's interesting to me that you're on the school board. I'm not too sure if you ever had education anywhere in your path.
I've taught at 3 colleges.
Okay.
I've also taught at the elementary, the middle, and the high school level here in Manatee County. As a matter of fact, the reason I went into the public school system here was to pay for the rings that I bought my wife when we got married. I was a substitute teacher for the better part of a year. And I have a tremendous amount of sympathy for people who make this their avocation. My mother and father were both educators. I have 2 daughters who are educators. I have a sister who spent a lifetime in education before she retired. So the idea of public education, to me, is very sacred and very, very important.
And why did you want to be a part of the school board?
I didn't want to be a part of the school board, but what I was concerned about is that the school board, as it was constituted at the time, had grown men in the parking lot wanting to fight each other and shoot each other, and I don't think that that's a good way for mature adults to try to solve the problem of public education in Manatee County. And so I decided I couldn't make it any worse. And maybe with a little bit of prayer and a little bit of studying and a little bit of learning, I could make it better.
So let's back up a little bit, Reverend Golden. I heard you mention that you said that you're for public schools.
Yes.
So are you saying, because Manatee County has charter schools also, so you're not a fan of charter schools? Because you said You're for public schools only.
Okay. And that's probably a very common misconception. Charter schools are public schools.
Okay.
So when I tell you that I'm for public schools, I'm telling you that I'm for charter schools. Now, if you want to know what I'm not for, I can tell you I'm not for private schools that do not have the same standards that public schools have. And I'm not for any school that has no standards that the children are not required to abide by, like the other children who are in non-private schools. This is it's a very difficult time for public education. We don't get enough money from the legislature, and we don't get enough support from the communities many times in which we serve, and the atmosphere is so charged with politics and so charged with partisanship that the children get a raw deal. Plus, you got so many people with so many different agendas, and I'm particularly committed to making sure that the public schools in this county keep doing what they're doing, lowering their dropout rates, increasing their third grade reading rates. That's my mantra. That's what I came on to do when I began.
You mentioned charter, you mentioned public, you mentioned private. I've been hearing something about community partnership schools. What exactly is community partnership schools?
Okay, community partnership schools expand on the concept of what schools are supposed to do. When I was in school, and when I had children in school, we were dealing with reading, writing, arithmetic, and then along came the technological revolution, and we interjected computers into schools, and aside from that, we are beginning to appreciate that a lot of children don't just come from the same background as all of the other children. There are children that leave home hungry in the morning. We have Title I schools, I think more than a dozen in this county, because of children that come out of low-income households in the morning, who come to school and they haven't had breakfast, or who left homes where their parents have been fighting and arguing all night long, or indeed where, let's just face it, where some of them have been abused sexually, psychologically, emotionally. They're coming out of those kinds of environments, and so you got to deal with that. Every child that decides to say something back to an adult is not a rebellious child. Sometimes that child is just hungry, and so what we are dealing with now is trying to create partnerships within the community to come to the schools and support that. We have a wonderful partnership right now with Manatee MCR. They are helping us with 2, and we're getting ready to put another one online. We have great partnerships with dual language schools, because 35% of the children in this county are Hispanic. They speak Spanish as their primary language.
Okay.
And so the community school concept is a concept that allows the school to be open not only during the day for academic purposes, but to also serve other needs in the community, chief among which healthcare, chief among another nutrition. So we not only serve breakfasts, but we also serve after schools. We have after school programs to help with remedial reading. All of that is what creates a community school concept.
So the school board has reached out to community businesses and so forth, and I guess what I'm hearing is you guys have created a partnership to come within the schools, or families are able to reach out to those businesses for support or services.
Yes.
Okay.
That's true.
All right, that's good. And
Mr. Golden, how do y'all come up with the zoning, like for bus? Like, how do y'all come up with zoning, like busing these kids from this neighborhood to that neighborhood and that neighborhood to this neighborhood? How do y'all come up with that? How y'all come up with that?
Okay.
Because I'm a barber, so I hear a lot of stuff in the barber shop. A lot of parents be upset about their kids being bused from their communities to the suburbs, and that's a long ways from their neighborhood that the kid got to do in the after-school program. It's hard for the parents to come from the inner city, go way out there to pick the kids up because of jobs and stuff. How do y'all come up with those zoning?
Okay. I don't know how they did it before 4 years ago. I wasn't on the school board. But what I believe is that what you're saying gave rise to situations where there was an inequitable distribution of minority children in majority schools to maintain the federal funding. I believe that. And what I've been committed to is trying to reverse that. We've had 2 different transportation directors since I've been on this board. And we have done not redistricting of the districts for school board members, but we have rezoned different schools in different neighborhoods to minimize what you're talking about. There are some pockets that still exist in terms of being unfair, but those pockets, I don't want to sound too melodramatic here, but that's one of my top priorities in terms of trying to eliminate and overcome. Because the other problem that you have, quite frankly, is that where the good schools have been built lately were not built in the neighborhoods where we predominate. And so first and foremost, one of my challenges when I got on the board was to get more money spent in the older schools in these neighborhoods to bring them up to par, to get them to where it didn't matter whether you went to Southeast High or whether you went to Manatee High, or if the children at Parish Community High were going to be treated better than the children at Southeast. That to me is not what public education is about. That's not what you do. That's not how you do it. You try to treat all children equally. And that is the foundation of equity. A lot of people don't know the difference between equality and equity. I don't want equality. I want equity. Because all of us ain't created equal. Some of us are tall, some of us are short. One of my favorite cartoons is 3 kids looking over a fence at a ball game. And there's a tall kid, a short kid, and a middle kid. And all 3 of them are on short boxes. And 2 of those kids, the boxes are equal. 2 of the kids can't still see the ball game. But equity gives each kid a box that they can stand on, that they can watch the ball game. And that, so I'm not a big fan of equality, but I'm a big fan of equity. Treat me fairly, not equally, because one of us got to decide what's equal. When I was growing up, one of us got to cut the pie, and the other one got to pick the slice. And I'm telling you, that was always fair.
Hey, man,
Because whoever did the cutting made sure that it was as fair as it could be, and whoever did the picking picked what they thought was the biggest piece. That's the difference between equality and equity.
Because see, outside looking in for me, I feel like your position is very challenging. Because in my eyes, because the reason I'm saying it, because you're a pastor. Should I say pastor, reverend?
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of hard to mix religion with politics. The school board is something like that's political, ain't it? And that's dealing with politics a little bit.
I'm gonna let you finish your question.
And then, by you being the pastor, it got to be tough because you see certain things going on that you might want to speak about, and you probably can't. And you surely probably can't speak about religion when they come down to school board. That's gonna cause a lot of hoopla. I'm assuming. So give me your take on religion and politics, because you in that seat.
Okay. I can tell
Because
y'all,
some black folks feel like, well, religion and politics shouldn't mix.
I can tell y'all don't watch me in school board meetings because
I'm gonna tell you,
I watch. I know you pray.
no,
Yes, you do. I've seen you pray before the meetings.
but the point that I'm trying to make is
Okay.
that was under another chairman. Since I have become chair, I have invited different people to pray from different religions, from different denominations. I've had a Jewish rabbi, Catholic priest, Baptist, Methodist, because I do not sacrifice my integrity for expediency. And the reality is that I don't see a conflict between being a minister and serving on the school board, because I'm going to do the right thing no matter what. You're not going to be able to get me to sell out. You're not going to be able to get me to do something wrong. You're not going to be able to get me to turn my back on what I know is right. I may not win, because anybody that tells you one person can do something on a school board of 5 is lying to you. You need at least 2 other people to agree with you. And I've been able to get many times the other 2 people to agree with me that this is the way we ought to go, regardless of what the issue is. And sometimes I'm not. But that's not because I'm a preacher or because I'm a pastor. It's because they don't want to do what I think is right, which is everybody's right. If I could get everybody to do what I wanted to do all the time, I'd start with Sister Golden right here. I'm not able to get that all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'm not going to be able to get strangers and people who have different attitudes and different ideas. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's not going to change me. I may not be able to change you, but I can do one thing for sure. I can stop you from trying to change me
Yeah.
and trying to get me to do something that I know is not in the best interest of
Because
you.
you know I'm a barber, Mr. Go. Reverend Go. I hear all kind of community
I know.
talk, boy, and I'm telling you.
That's why I started
you're,
coming.
Hey, listen, you're not the favorite in the county as a whole, because in politics, you're not gonna please everybody. We know that. You know that. And then by you being a man of color on that panel, sometimes I feel like us as black folks, we feel like you can move a mountain by yourself. We feel like it's gonna always be collard greens and macaroni and cheese, and it's not like that. And you being a pastor, a school board chairman, a lawyer, I know you practice law, if you still do, and those 3 occupations to me are positive. Why do you think the people in our community look at you as negative?
I don't know. You have to ask those people that think that. But I know that enough people in the Manatee County community 4 years ago thought enough of me to elect me to that board. And I hope in November or August that they'll think enough of me to re-elect me. Because one good thing about it, I'm not running for re-election because I'm liked or not liked. I'm running for re-election on my record and the things that I have been able to contribute to in this community. And the community goes from Manatee County to the Gulf, the east to the Gulf, Sarasota County to the south, and Hillsborough and Pinellas County to the north. I can only do what I can do. That's all. I may not do what you think I should do, and I may not do what you believe I'm able to do. But that doesn't faze me. It's, as long as I've kept a good conscience with me. I often say a lot of times what I think about when I'm about to make a decision is, what are my children and my grandchildren? What's my family? What are the people who know me going to think about what I'm saying and what I'm doing? So the fact that there are strangers who never broken bread with me, strangers who never had a conversation with me, not been as close as you all are in this room to me. Like you said, I come here to get my hair cut.
Yeah, yeah.
Do I seek advice from you about the school board and what should I do and what do you think about the pastor? I come here to get a haircut.
Yeah.
So the fact that people come in here and unload, that's good. You're a community psychologist.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your thinking enough of me to want to bring me in this environment to have a voice to speak to the community. But none of that makes a difference in terms of who I am. Who I was when I walked in here is who I'm going to be when I walk out. And if it helps, good. If it does not help, forgive me.
Now you said that when you make decisions with the school board, you make decisions based off if it was your grandchild or your child or your.
No, that's not what I said. What I said is when I am conducting myself in a school board meeting,
Okay.
the conduct that I exhibit is conduct that I need to be able to go home and look my wife in the face and look my children and my grandchildren in the face and not be ashamed of it.
Okay, so with the decision on that was made with LMA, do you feel like you made the right decision to go home and look your family in the face and say that you made those right decisions?
Yes, I do, because as a matter of truth, if I had not made the decision that I made when I made it, we wouldn't be sitting here tonight even talking about LMA. Because the truth is that the decision had already been made to close LMA. The question was whether or not the school board in Manatee County was going to resist that decision and keep it in this community and keep control of the school in the community. Now that's the truth. You see, there's written communication that clearly says if the Manatee County School Board does not take action tonight at its next meeting, when the sun rises in the morning, LMA will be under the control of the Commissioner of Education of the state of Florida.
With all due respect, Mr. Golden, those are lies, and I wish you would please stop vetting that. And I have paperwork here to support that, but I'm gonna get into that a little later. All that kumbaya stuff earlier, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I wasn't really interested in none of that. With all due respect, I'm here because I did pay attention. Don't get me wrong. You always listen because you can always learn. And I heard the word lynch earlier in one of your stories, and I'm gonna tell you right now, from an emotional, financial, we were lynched as a community and a school on July 23rd, 2019. And I'm gonna tell you why. Prior to that night of the infamous takeover, you had a principal that had a vision to level the playing field for our Title I kids, give our kids private school privileges without the benefits of having a private school household. 2 parents wrote a letter to initiate the conversion process. And oh, by the way, I was one of them. Staff overwhelmingly voted in favor of the conversion. There were only 2 non-yays, and one was a test, it was marked invalid. The community voted, overwhelming, B. School board approved it, 3-2. Dr. Green and Dr. Hopes made it clear their mission was to take the school back. Dr. Hopes, I believe, was quoted as saying, game on. Our staff instead prepared, trained for the culture change in the mindset. We instilled pride in our kids. Pride, Pride. That's protect, respect, and inspire to demonstrate excellence with the motto of do the right thing, the right way, right now. FSA scores went up, every category, reading, math, that was rare. Them teachers were teaching they blanks off. Shout out to Mays Davis, real, your wife was one of them. Attendance rate, shot to the roof. Tardies nearly became non-existent. Enrollment and demand for enrollment skyrocketed. Our CEO and our CFO used to have friendly arguments about when they're gonna cap it or how much they're gonna cap it. But I'm gonna tell you what, we could have easily put 700, 800, 900, probably even 1,000. It was getting to that level before y'all shut us off. It was getting to that level. But my guy believed in quality over quantity. That's another story. 100% uniform rate. Protect, we mentioned protect. Protect our kids, especially those who are less fortunate. Didn't want to expose those kids. Facility, so everybody looked the same. That's why our logo changed. If you look at the logo now, it has a face and whatever. You know, our logo was just a helmet. You know why? Because that helmet without the face represented that anybody, whether it was black, white, Chinese, whoever, can put that helmet on and wear and exhibit Trojan pride. The facilities, inside and out, was immaculate. We had continuous praises from visiting schools. the PCSs, the BCSs, the SSs, the SSASs, the SMAPs, the SSAS, and whoever else, SSS. Always coming through, giving props to the clean environment. Food was off the chain. Kitchen was grandma kitchen clean. Kids had a choice into the menu input, healthy menu, so to speak. They had seasoning. We had a record number of staff that had a meal plan, monthly, payroll deducted. Discipline and safety between our administration and our safety team had our school on lock. Fights were rare. We taught our kids, am I right, B? Safety team? We taught our kids how to sit down and iron out differences, and whether they agree to disagree, you walk away with respect. Again, pride, protect, respect, inspire to demonstrate excellence. We ain't even have time out of ISS. Our punishment eventually, if you got to the point where you were, causing ruckus, we'll put you on contract. And if you violate the contract, then you get the worst punishment. You go back to public school. Do a survey of those kids that were sent to public school and were begging to come back to LMA. Transportation department was second to none. Staff, system, professional, organized, prepared, safe, comfortable. 3 brand new buses. 3 brand new buses. Not those raggedy buses that broke down with no AC that y'all gave us when y'all converted back to whatever it is y'all call that down there. But we had 3 brand new buses. TLP 001, 002, 003, and we had an SUV that was called the Inconvenience Shuttle, Cold Shell, just in case Cold Shell had to work and AJ left, he got to get to auntie house. He done missed the bus somehow, whatever. We got you. We got you, parent. We got you. Before and after school program was second to none. We had kids coming 60, 70 deep as early as 7 a.m. in the morning for the programs and activities. And in the PM, they ain't want to leave. Total life prep framework. We taught them kids every inch and which way about life. Every inch about life. Total life prep where you can cover. We got them. Calm program, the calm hour, Monday through Friday. That's what helped eliminate 8 to 9. That's what helped eliminate the tardy and the attendance policy. We tricked the kids actually into coming to school early. Because in public school, what time you got to be to school? You got to have your kids at school if you got middle school kids.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, actually 9:20. That's when the bell rang, the late bell rang. Calm hour started at 8 o'clock. On Mondays and Wednesdays, it was total life prep based on your grade level theme. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we had over 40 clubs to choose from. We had something for every kid in the world. And if we didn't have it, you know what we did, Mr. Golden? We created one. And Friday, I know y'all remember them. Them General Assembly Fridays, where we had the first black mayor of Detroit come through and talk. We had Lieutenant Morrell come through and speak. We had his son, an aspiring lawyer, come through and speak. We had all kinds of guest speakers and fun. And shout out to the black violinist, Amari, that came through and performed and tore the house down. We had a variety of electives. Art, marching band, not just band, marching band, Baby Cookman, orchestra, chorus, TV production, computer programming, STEM, ag, dance, and sports specific PE. They called us the baby IMG. You want your son to get better in basketball, sign him up for basketball class. You want your daughter to get better in volleyball, put her in volleyball gym. You just want your kid to train and get better, put him in strength and conditioning class. Athletics, 11 sports. Tackle football, 2-time state champs. Competitive cheer, volleyball, boys and girls cross country, boys and girls basketball, boys and girls soccer, boys and girls track, co-ed tennis, co-ed golf. We were adding baseball, adding softball, and was targeting lacrosse and a swim team. That's too much to talk about. It's too much to talk about. Even if I mention our gala, where our performing arts kids showed out, even if I mention our 4.0 luncheons, where the kids who served at 4.0s, we served them on stage, and we fine dined them, and we gave them a menu of choice. Those kids enjoyed those crab legs and chicken wings. Shout out to them. Our kids visited NASA. Our kids went to NASA. Developed relationships with Failed Entertainment, IMG, Nick Bollettieri himself. Not Nick Bollettieri, the Academy. We talk about Nick himself. That's my dog. What's up, Nick? Mr. Bolletary. The Lynx, $1 place for all you Bucks fans. Yeah, they were gonna take our kids behind the scenes and teach our little black and brown kids who always dream of going to the NFL that it's more than one way to skin a cat. Everybody ain't gonna make it to the NFL, but guess what? There are jobs and other things behind the NFL, behind the scenes of franchises that we're gonna teach y'all, and maybe y'all might wanna choose a career down that path. Shout out to $1 place. Noah at the Mock. Shout out to him. That's the Mock. That's the country golf club up there in Marcus and Wallow. Shout out to him. Shout out to those ladies that showed our kids love. We had our kids on the golf course, B. Your daughter was on the golf course, B. The first match, B. When our kids went out there and our kids didn't have those traveling carts, those push carts, and those other private school kids came out with their fancy carts, and our kids wore themselves out by carrying their bags for 9 holes. Guess what? Them shout out to them ladies out there. I bet that ain't happen no more.
Yes, sir.
I bet that ain't happen no more. Kids entered high school with 5, 7, 9, 10 high school credits. 8th graders visited colleges. Man, what we talking about? On 7/24, your notice of termination letter addressed to Christine Dawson, board chair, was pursuant to the certain Florida statutes. And I'm just gonna read this, and I'm gonna give you an opportunity to respond. And I just need you, after all of that, to basically, I need you to look the camera on. Me. Because it is personal, and I know you can feel that. But I want you to see,
Right.
I want you to explain and justify the emergency takeover. Because let me explain something. Let me tell you something. The only way to do an emergency termination is there is an immediate and serious threat to the health and safety and welfare of the students. All right? Florida State Statute 1012.33, 8A and B in the notice of termination do not count for immediate termination. There was no threat to the students. The district tried to create one with the fake water bill and the false narrative that Huntley can't have contact with kids per Florida State Statute 1012.79. That statute only applies to public districts and schools, not charters. Florida Statute 1002.3, 12G2 is the statute that defines the charter employees, the charter employees that can't have direct contacts with students per Florida Statute 1012.315, none of which applies to Huntley. And last, Florida Statute 1002.33, Sweet 16 is what we call it, exemptions from all statutes between 1000 and 1013, unless stated. All those statutes that you mentioned fell within that exemption, with the exception of the one, again, with the health and safety and danger. And I just want to, and we'll make sure you get a pardon gift, but between what I just said and between, visual evidence, I want to know, how can you legitimately sit up here, like you just said, you go home, you cool with looking yourself in the mirror along with your kids and this and that. How can you sit up here and justify that there was an immediate termination of LMA?
Have you finished? Have you finished?
I ain't finished. You got time, but I ain't finished.
No. Mildred? This is a 60-minute interview. Okay. Let me first begin by saying I would not lie to you about something like this. Now, I have been known to have been mistaken. But
no.
I did not interrupt you.
Sit here and do that, man, because you don't.
You know what?
You lie. You can't sit here and lie.
If I'm not mistaken,
tell me whether or not.
If I'm not mistaken,
to those 4 pastors in the church.
Now I
when
know.
You told those 4 pastors, Reverend.
I know why you don't want me to keep talking.
Maison,
okay.
Tell me you didn't tell those pastors, since you say you don't lie. See, I don't mean to. I guess I did mean to cut you off.
Okay, were you there?
Speaking on not lying.
Were you there?
Lie? Did you lie to those pastors when you told them that Huntley stole $1.5 million in that church? And then those pastors told you they would bring pastors to the board members to confront you, and you bet them that they wouldn't, and then you lost that bet.
Were you there in the meeting? Yes or no?
I'm asking. No, I wasn't.
Okay.
No, I wasn't. So tell the people. Tell, because Pastor Mazon, those guys, they're looking. Art Huggins, they're looking. Or either are they gonna get win?
Okay, I'm gonna wait till you finish.
Let him respond.
No, it's all right. I want him to make sure that he's finished, because I've not interrupted him, and I just think it's respectful to let people finish. See, he's sitting there now.
Let's go.
And
It's
okay.
the same petty behavior you be having at the school board meeting. That's why they don't even let you read the introduction to the public comments anymore, because you get so petty. You do get petty. And you're supposed to be a reverend and you get petty. Do I not remind you, like, okay, if you on the school board, just like if I'm a referee and I sign up to be a referee, I got to have tough skin. I got to know that the coaches are going to be talking crap to me, the fans going to be talking crap to me, the players going to be talking crap. If you sign up for the school board, then you should have thick skin. I done seen you, I done sat in the meeting where you told a dude, you called Rodney Jones a blind diabetic. You know, I done.
We gotta let him talk.
It's all right.
Haven't heard him talk. We got give him
You gotta say something. All that
Give him a chance.
Tell him why.
It's all right. I guess the first thing I'd like to address is that nobody stopped me from reading the introductory sentences regarding public comment. The structure of the school board meeting is that the vice chair presides over the public comment portion of the meeting. When I was the vice chair, he's correct, I did read those sentences, and I did say what I had to say when I was the vice chair. Now that I am the chair, the vice chair does that. So nobody stopped me from doing that. That is not true.
At one point in time, they wanted to, but go ahead.
Now, as I was saying, you may think what you want to think about my integrity and my veracity. I simply came here to say one thing about a decision that I made on one night. And the decision that I made on that night was based not on notes that I took and not on comments that I made about how I feel, but a letter that is a matter of public record that was received from the Commissioner of Education by the school board. Now, I don't have to lie about that, and I know I'm not mistaken about that, because that letter is a matter of public record. The letter is a matter of public record that was received from Commissioner Cochran. Now, as it relates to the decision that was made that night, I want to say this in the most helpful way possible. If I had voted to not retain jurisdiction over this school in Manatee County, I'm going to say it again, we wouldn't even be here, because that school would be under the jurisdiction and the auspices of the state of Florida, as are many other charter schools. And that's a fact. I don't have to make that up. I'm not trying to influence you. I'm not trying to make you feel one way or the other. That's a fact. Now, if that was a lie, it is not a lie that I told, because I didn't write the letter. I didn't make up the letter, but the letter exists. And what the letter says is what it says. If you do not take action tonight to return control of that school to the school board in your county, we're going to take it over. Maybe some of you don't understand that charter schools are under the jurisdiction of the Commission of Education. They are not under the jurisdiction of the Manatee County School Board. We're a pass-through for the money that they receive. We're a pass-through for the applications that they submit. The jurisdiction, the authority for charter schools rests with the Florida Department of Education. Now those are facts. I didn't create that. I didn't make it up. And I'm not trying to make you feel one way or the other about the decision that I made, because the decision that I made, as I've already said, based on those facts. Wasn't trying to hurt anybody, wasn't trying to help anybody, was trying to keep the school under the jurisdiction of Manatee County.
So you wanted the school to stay under the jurisdiction of Manatee County,
Yes.
and so you wanted it to be taken from Mr. Hundley?
No.
Because and
That's
then you're saying
basically-
you made the decision, like
First off,
you got to understand, Mr. Golden. Like this, I'm like Kevin. It is personal because I had a daughter at LMA, and I don't think you all really understand like what y'all did to these kids and some of these teachers. Y'all really don't understand that. My daughter was 7th grade, couldn't wait for her 8th grade year because of the things that Mr. Hundley and other officials at faculty members at LMA put in place, like the 8th grade walk down the hall, the 8th grade prom. My daughter, first year playing golf, she played in the championship. She was ready and couldn't wait to get back to her 8th grade year to participate and compete again, and she was robbed of that. And my wife and I had to deal with my daughter crying every night. Why y'all at the school? Why y'all doing Mr. Hundley like this? Why y'all doing the kids like this and that? And I don't think you all really understood, because you all was so in y'all feelings that this man had this school and he took it to the level that he took it to. And when the school was under Manatee County, it wasn't at that level.
okay.
And then, truth be told, before you respond, Mr. Golden, truth be told, that letter that you referred to, that letter did not say that it would take the school. All it said was, Corcoran would come down and participate in a recovery plan, which we were not. Y'all knew, and that was y'all grounds. That was your method to your madness. You do a quick termination, try to do a quick termination, an early emergency takeover, so to speak, and not allow a 90-day due process, which we would have had a recovery plan. So all those financial woes that you speak of and this and that, we would have had an opportunity to recover just like any other charter school.
Would you all have any objection if I tried to answer his question first before I come back to you? Okay. The recovery plan that he's speaking of is exactly what would have transferred control of the school back to the state. That would not have been a recovery plan that would have allowed Lincoln at that time to continue under the auspices of Manatee County. The recovery plan that is described by the Commission of Education, which he admits is in that letter, is a recovery plan that was going to be in effect the next morning if we had not taken any action. We avoided a recovery plan because there was nothing for the state to recover. We retained jurisdiction of the school in Manatee County, which gets me to the issue of your daughter and other daughters like that. I had 3 granddaughters in the school system here.
I had 7 kids in the school system here.
Beg your pardon?
I had 7 kids in the school system here.
I guess what I'm
And 3
at a
grandkids.
loss to understand, and I wish somebody could help me with this. If the decision had been made any other way, that the recovery plan would have gone back to the state of Florida, do you have any evidence that the school would have continued as it was? Because contrary to popular opinion, the decision to remove Mr. Hundley from that school was not made by the school board. The decision to remove Mr. Hundley was made by the same people that made the decision to either take the school under state control the next day or not. And that's the Department of Education.
But all based off of lies.
Hey,
What?
Mr. Golden.
Nothing was proven. All based off of lies, Mr. Golden.
And that's what
All
that
based
that
off
false
of
evidence. That's how
lies,
y'all
sir.
tricked the door, Judge. Y'all entered that false evidence. But let me ask you a question. Early that day in that workshop, you basically told the people that you were not gonna support any efforts to close down or shut down Lincoln. Do you recall that?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Okay. So what happened? Because by the time that night was over, and I remember, and I want to remind you of something. I was there that night of the takeover. And I probably altogether, just myself, probably said 5 words total. And so when that decision went down, you were there. It was chaotic. And it got to the point where it turned into a civil rights movement. I was in the back, arms locked, literally prepared to go to jail if I had to at that moment. And I remember in that workshop, which you just admitted, because we had the video. That's what that video cue clip is about, just in case you get a little foggy. You were in favor of not doing that.
In favor of not doing what now?
Not supporting the LMA shutdown. And then when people kind of clapped a little bit, you was like, nah, leave me alone, you know. Y'all the same people that tried to castigate me. And then then you flip. How do you explain that and then flipping to support taking it away?
Okay, that's a question. Okay, thank you. Have you finished? Because I don't want to interrupt you and I don't want to cut you off. Because when I try to answer you, I don't want to be cut off and I don't want to be interrupted. That's just respectful. Now, what you may not remember about that night is that it was not a question of whether the school was going to be closed or shut down. This has always been a question of who was going to be in charge of going forward from that night with the school. Was it going to be the state of Florida or was it going to be the Manatee County School Board? I voted simply to have the school remain in the context or in the control of the Manatee County School Board. Now, if you don't mind, I'd really like to address his question because that is a very, very important question about the children and the impacts.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Bae, listen to this answer now. You know what we had to deal with. Listen to this answer.
And it got to be a good answer because he's on the board of directors for Centerstone. And he, of all people, should understand the mental health of these kids. So you got to explain that. And was your daughter in that lockdown?
I'm not only.
Lockdowns, B?
I'm
Phase
not.
3 lockdowns that was orchestrated?
I'm not. I'm
Go
not
ahead,
just.
Reverend.
First off, I'm not just a member of the board of Centerstone. I chair that board too. All right.
I used to
So-
work for Centerstone.
So,
Kids should have got some help.
so they are getting help to the tune of about $1 million that I just approved as the chair.
Well, me and my wife pay for my daughter help.
Well, and that's why I want to try to address.
Kids in high school, man.
It's hard to answer when nobody's really looking for answers.
It's hard to sit
wanna-
up here and listen to bullshit.
Well, listen. Obviously,
I've not
I
used.
see personal stuff going on here, but we have to keep this very professional. And I respect you, Mr. Golden, for even coming here to even address these issues because there's some stuff I need to learn too. I see some passion in here, and Reverend Golden took his time out to come here and try to answer some of these issues.
Right.
And I see what's going on. So we got to keep this thing under wrap, man. Keep it professional, man, because it's many people listening, and people need to hear some of these answers. And I see the passion that B and Mr. Jackson got.
P.O.P.
P.O.P. P.O. to the P.
Okay.
But we have to let Mr. Golden, Reverend Golden, give him a chance to answer these questions. Because people listening, and I'm listening. I want to hear what's going on. I need to learn something.
Okay. I am beyond sad at what has been the result of what didn't begin on that night that we made that decision. I am beyond sad because the decision that was made that night was a decision that was a consequence of a lot of other decisions that had been made prior to that. Even before I got on I wasn't even on the school board when Lincoln Memorial was allowed to become a charter school. I wasn't a part of that decision. And as you've already heard, some of the people who were a part of that decision obviously had negative feelings and negative attitudes about it. The two people that were named earlier tonight aren't even there anymore. But the damage that was done because of that spirit and because of that attitude lingers on. I wish that there was something I could say to you to ease the pain that you feel. But there's nothing I can say to ease that pain. But I am not going to take the blame for the decision that I made on that night when that decision was made as a result of a lot of things that went on long before then that I know nobody wants to talk about and that I know nobody wants to admit and that I know that nobody wants to acknowledge because it flies in the face of what you've already made up in your mind, and that is that it is my fault or the school board's fault or the people on the school board now.
I wouldn't say it's your fault by yourself, Mr. Golden. Man, I can't lie. You know, this is very difficult. It's difficult. I don't have any ill will towards you. I respect my elders, all that. It's just the pain that I saw my daughter go through, and then for the truth, all these lies that were spreaded about Mr. Hundley in this school, and then for the truth to come out, and then for you all to still keep this same negative energy and not fix this and make this right. Everybody makes mistakes. If y'all made a mistake, just say, hey man, we made a mistake. We apologize, Mr. Hundley. Man, here, sir, get your school back. Parents that went through this turmoil with your kids, we apologize. We made a mistake. We, as men, we make mistakes. As humans, we make mistakes.
And the only thing that I want to share with you is that you remember this, that Hundley is a man too. I know you don't want to hear that, but the reality is,
I want to hear that. I do want to hear
agree
that.
with you.
I do want to hear that.
All of us make mistakes.
I do want to hear that, but when you have a fake water bill, y'all said the man bought 3 Mercedes, and that was the finance. He financed 3 buses. It wasn't 3 Mercedes. He financed the 3 buses through Mercedes finance company. But y'all won't come back and say, hey man, we messed up. Like we messed up, y'all. We thought we had him to the good. We bought all these lies. We messed up. We messed up.
But you see, the reality of what you're talking about doesn't square with the timeline. The things that you all are talking about were not discovered at all until much later when the forensic audit was done of the books of the school. These things that you're talking about were not known on the night that the decision was made, which only was to keep control of the school in the hands of the Manatee County School Board.
Okay, you said you didn't know these things, but now you do, and y'all still won't right your wrong.
Because
you still won't right the wrong.
Okay, because 2 wrongs never make a right. And somebody needs to just come on out and say that. 2 wrongs have never made a right. And even if there is wrongdoing, which I refuse to say after 2 judges and 1 administrative law judge have decided.
Again. Man.
Now, you know, that's just not right.
2 administrative judges,
That's just not
had
right.
the
I didn't
same
come.
evidence. You had the same
I didn't come here
evidence.
to have a
You were
discussion.
not able to enter.
I did not come here to have a discussion with one person. I came here to be interviewed by all of you. Now, if that's what this is degenerated into, just tell me. If he is going to control the narrative, just say, we're going to be quiet and let him bully this session.
No, we want you to answer.
Man,
We
don't,
want you to
don't,
answer.
man, don't try to punk eyed
It's
podcast.
not- I don't
like
think
that,
it's a
dog. They
bully,
ain't
but
like that.
Some of the viewers do want to know.
All right, man. Whatever.
Is the interview
It was,
part over? Are we still in the interview, or are we now at the
Yeah.
video on cue?
No,
or where are we?
we're going to go into our.
Some of the
our
viewers want to know. I want to ask my question first. Some of the viewers want to know, or saying that evidently, I guess it was already an agenda, and if you all didn't know, then why was a principal already named or assigned for LMA before the takeover?
Okay. There was no principal assigned before the decision that was made that night. Florida law, however, says and requires that a school cannot be without a principal for 24 hours. That's black letter statute. And so the decision that was made the next morning was to try to get an interim principal in the school. And that was done. But there was no decision that was made because they couldn't make that decision because you don't know whether you got 3 votes to let. As a matter of fact, you did have 2 people that wanted it to go back to the state. Let it go. Be done with it.
Reverend Golden, just.
I'm sorry. Did I answer the question?
I'm not from here. I have no idea. It was for the viewers. They asked me to ask the question, so I'm asking the question. That was it.
Did
So
I answer that
I need
question?
to ask this question.
I'll have to wait
I need to
to
ask
see
this
if they
question.
responded. I have
Yes,
no idea about anything with LMA.
Okay.
Reverend Golden, at that time when that was, what she's bringing up, if I can
Yeah,
recall.
that's what I'm saying.
And you tell me if you remember this. I believe there was some names thrown out as candidates.
That's
for
correct.
the
That is
next one.
correct.
So I believe that question that was read kind of aligns with how come there was a pool of names that were already established
If
at
you
that
didn't know.
time of the decision.
The pool of names that you're talking about weren't established at that time because we didn't know whether or not there was going to be a decision to retain control of the school. But you have to have someone who is lawfully able to assume principalship of the school. That's the law.
Well, just a couple names. I remember Omar Edwards was mentioned. I believe Mr. King was mentioned. And I believe someone else was mentioned. I believe there was all black principals at some point, or were at that point, that were mentioned in that pool. You don't recall that?
I don't recall how many names there were,
Okay,
but I know that there were. We wanted to make sure that if we were going to keep control of the school,
Right.
because that was I
The
think,
24-hour thing.
right. So we got to do that.
Well, we are in that hood. Got questions. We're gonna have some more questions from negotiate. What are the questions you got?
Does Mr. Golden still believe that LMA should not be returned to a charter? And does Mr. Golden believe the hindsight this was a mistake?
Good question.
Okay. If LMA goes through the chartering process like they did, I'm going to support that. And during this period of time, I have talked with at least 3 different groups that emerged saying that they wanted to have a charter school there. One group never showed up for the interview. One group never filled out the application. And the third group never demonstrated the financial strength necessary to have a charter school. That's 3 different groups that I personally have witnessed express an interest in creating a charter school.
Why does it have to be some outside groups instead of saying, Hundley, here? get your
I never
school?"
said these were outside groups. And Mr. Hundley is disqualified because Mr. Hundley's license has been revoked by the state.
For
For what?
false.
Okay, but you
And
see, if that's your argument, you can't have it both ways.
Well,
if in fact,
Go ahead and answer.
yeah,
you don't
if,
even need a
if,
certificate.
Go ahead and answer.
You don't even need a
if-
certificate to be a charter school principal.
Go ahead and answer.
if in fact what we're discussing here is why Mr. Hundley can't come back, that's black letter law. That's just I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not telling you what I think and what I feel and what I believe and all. I'm just telling you what the law says.
Well,
Let me,
And if you have an argument with that, you need to take that up with the state legislature. We don't make that law.
Mr. Golden, I know for a fact that number one, you don't need a certificate actually to be a charter school principal. The only areas you really need that certification is teaching those core areas. That's one thing I know. But I want to go back to
No, before
Omar.
you go forward, you know what? You've cut me off enough. I'm going to stop you with this. You don't know that for a fact, and if you do, I defy you to show that to me in the statute.
Okay.
Show me
We'll
that you
go
do
to
not
that.
have.
We'll go to that, and I'm gonna raise you. I'm gonna raise you.
I don't play poker. I don't
Okay,
know nothing
me
like
neither.
that.
But it sound good. So I'm gonna raise you that by admitting to the audience and here and this and that, because you mentioned when Cole Shell asked about was this premeditated, and you stated it wasn't this and that. So would you go on record as to saying, and speaking of Omar Edwards, would you go on record as to saying that you didn't have private conversations with Mr. Omar in regards to LMA for him to go and try to convince his frat brother, whatever, to, hey, look, if you just back out and let me be the principal, they say they'll leave LMA alone. So will you sit here and deny having those conversations with Mr. Edwards? If
Of course not.
I'm gonna defy you on that
no,
because
of
I'm gonna
course.
raise you some text messages that
Of
support
course.
all of what I'm saying.
I've said, of course not. I'm not going to deny that. And the reason I'm not going to deny that
And that was
is because,
months now. That was months prior to that. Those conversations were months.
And the reason I'm not going to deny that, and I appreciate your bringing that up, is because I did do a lot of things to try to prevent what happened that night from happening. And one of the things that I did was I did go to his fraternity brother. I don't know whether you're his fraternity brother or not, but I know that my fraternity brother has influence on me, and my fraternity brother would only come to me if he thought this was in his best interest. Now, what you need to be honest about is whether or not, after I asked Omar Edwards to do that, if in fact he did it. Because in fact,
And he did.
thank you, because what we were trying to do was to avoid just this. We were trying to make this something that could be done without the necessity of, let me
Okay.
finish.
Okay.
We were
Okay.
trying to do this without the necessity of official action. Yes, I did that. And yes, I do it again, because I am tired of black men bashing other black men simply because they don't do what they want to do. I want to do the right thing, and that's why I went to Edwards. I trust him. I have confidence in him, and I thought that he could reason with his fraternity brother, and I would never have embarrassed him or his fraternity brother by mentioning this first out of my mouth. So I'm glad you did.
Well, that's
I'm
you.
glad you mentioned
That's you.
that this was
That's
something
you.
that happened.
Well, Reverend Golden, we
That's
have
you.
one more question from the audience. And then we'll
So
move
it
on to our
says,
shout-outs.
he just don't or won't understand how he hurt the whole community. Why? And again, I'm new to all of this, so the question is from the viewers. So you will basically be talking to them, because I'm new to all of this. So,
would you
but
repeat
she
it?
said, basically, it was you just don't understand or won't understand how you hurt the whole community, and you want everybody to be held accountable, but you won't be held accountable. And why can't LMA just be returned?
I'm sorry that whoever that is feels that way, but I have explained more than once why that has not happened. I do not feel the necessity to talk about why it will not happen. All I can tell you is that the opportunities to do that have not happened. I don't know what more I can say. And I'm not going to violate the law just to make then I got 3 wrongs. So
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, man. We're going to end that section. We're going to move forward in our program, which is shout-outs brought to us by Rise Sports Performance from our shout-out section. All right. Let me start Green. Hey, man, you got a shout-out?
Yeah, I got a shout out, man. But before I say my shout out, I want to say this. I want to let people know in Facebook land and YouTube land what Truth Be Told is all about. Regardless of whatever feelings that everybody got out there, we are not an ambush podcast. We are here to represent our community. We are here to bring these community leaders up front so they can have a chance to explain whatever they're trying to explain. You know, there's a lot of feelings out there. I understand that. But we're going to control our own narrative here. You understand? So Facebook land, YouTube land, hey, we are here professionally and we are trying to have a respectful podcast and we're trying to represent this community. So y'all have to respect one another and we need to come together. And I know there's some dislikes out there and some people like Mr. Golden, some people don't like Mr. Golden. But this is not the podcast to ambush anybody. So Mr. Golden, we did not bring you here to get ambushed. There's some feelings going on here. I understand that. But you know, we got a shots out right now, and I know you have to go. So I'm just going to shout out to my family, my friends, and the whole 941.
I don't feel like I've been ambushed. I feel like I've had an opportunity to talk with young people who have a serious commitment and interest in their community. And we disagree. I mean, I've got children, and I disagree with them. So it's not amazing to me that I disagree with other young people in the community. But right is right.
Yeah.
And I don't care who is opposed to it.
Thank you
But
for
you
saying
still
that.
support Cynthia Saunders.
Hey, Cole, you got shout-outs?
Shout out to my daddy, Pastor Roosevelt Watkins. He always told me right is right, wrong is wrong. A lie don't care who tell it. And at the end of the day, it's always 3 sides to a story. And I feel like it, honestly, never probably gonna, get a real clear understanding of what's happening. But I just pray that, everybody eventually does start to develop, to be healed. A lot of people were hurt. A lot of people lost jobs. A lot of kids were affected. And it's unfortunate, but evidently God must have something greater for LMA, for the kids that was at LMA, for the faculty and staff of LMA. Don't be discouraged. Continue to be encouraged. God got you, and it's greater. It's greater. Your future. I see y'all in the future, and it's better. So shout out to the to Truth Be Told. The podcast, Tonight Show. Y'all come out, check us out. Saturday night, April 30th. Sins and Sinners live stage play. Southeast High School Auditorium. Get your tickets.
Thank you. B wait, man. You got any shout outs today?
Yes, condolences to my wife's family on the loss of her grandmother. Ms. Virtually Hurd. Love and respect to the family. Major loss in their family. She was the pioneer, the matriarch of their family, and a lot of people was affected by this loss. And my condolences to my wife and her family.
Condolences,
man.
To Toya, man, and the family. POP, got any shout outs, baby?
Absolutely, B. I want to echo them sentiments exactly. But I want to give a shout out to Joanna Phillips, Baron Ross, Kamara Ramsey, Alton Lilly Jr., Johnny Walker, and Thaddeus Johnson. Coincidentally, those were people that lost their jobs on July 24. I also want to give a shout out to the baddest leadership team on the planet, Ed Hunley, CEO, TLP. Dr. Melvia Scott, COM Director, 7th grade administrator. Katrina Anderson, 8th grade administrator. Saul Johnson, Plant Manager. Craig Huggins, Director of Transportation. Amar Miller, Safety Director. And Cornell Maxfield, CFO.
And I want to give a shout out to my wife. She just completed her master's. It's been about
congratulations.
18, 12 months.
Congratulations,
Miss Mays Davis.
So she's
Congratulations, Sister Davis.
she's been in education for a very long time, man. And I think she's ready to take that next step. She's currently the math coach, also teacher of math at Lincoln Memorial Middle School right now, aspiring AP to come. So want to make sure that I give a shout out to her. All right. And with that being said, do we got anything else? Is that about it? You about done? I mean, that was a heck of a show.
Yeah.
You got some stuff out of that,
Man, I got a lot of stuff out of there, man. You know, I'm proud, man. I was educated, man, and you know, life can be tough sometimes, man. You know, you just don't know how certain events in life affect other people.
Right.
And tonight, I seen it.
Right.
You know, I seen the effect of that takeover from that school, what it had on B-Mobile and it had on POP. And I respect Reverend Golden, to even show up to our podcast to address some of the issues. And big ups to this podcast tonight. Big ups.
Appreciate that. And before we leave, before we close this thing out, Reverend Golden, do you have any shout outs that you would like to recognize or say anything to anyone that may be watching or somebody you just may have some thoughts about right now?
I'd like to give a shout out to my wife, who joined me here tonight in this moment, and who's going to have a lot more to say after this podcast is over. when we get in the car and go home. And but seriously, there are things that you can do something about, but they always lie in front of you. The things that you can do nothing about are the things that are behind you. You can't change it. You can only make it worse or make it better. And I just hope that somehow, just even having this conversation makes tomorrow a little bit better for all of us. It may not, but I hope so. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I'm not flustered or frustrated. I appreciate the hospitality, the opportunity to come. This is a great thing that you're doing. I'm just hopeful that if you haven't, that sooner or later you'll get the Kappas to come and be a part of you and get the Omegas. And that there's some Masonic people here. I hope you'll get some of the community leaders to come and be a part. This is very important because I want you to know nobody has asked me to come for an interview at ABC 7 or Bay News 9. Nobody has asked me what I thought about the fact that the governor is now trying to stop critical race. They haven't even been asked about that. And I know we hadn't talked about that tonight, but that's a part of it. So that's my shout out. I thank you.
Absolutely. The wife. So I would like to congratulate you on behalf of TBT for coming in and joining us tonight. And Reverend Golden, you may not know, but there's always sides to a story, right? We got Reverend James T. Golden side, and we got that side over there, and then it's us. Truth be told, and if you don't know yet, when you sat down in that chair, you are officially on
the record.